It's Saturday morning, I'm Ste, bringing you the ultimate Saturday morning TV revival for the generation that thought Beanie Babies would fund their futures and maybe even hatch into tiny spiders. This week we've got another round of just one line where we guess the book from the opening line. We also get our tongues wet with Lick That Pokemon, explore what master sets are all about, and dive into the already infamous Pokemon Legends ZA. In our book club, we'll check out an indie gem from a new author, and in bit by bit, we'll tackle the next rule in the player's handbook. And on top of it all, we'll be unboxing a massive selection of One Piece trading cards. But before we jump into any of that, let's head over to the hobby bench for Hobby Hangout to reflect on last week's hobby goals and celebrate the wins we've all achieved. Let's dive into another edition of Hobby Hangout. This is the place where we celebrate all the wins from the past week, no matter what your hobby. It's all about sharing the love and having fun together. So what kind of achievements are we celebrating today? Maybe you finally managed to organize your entire comic collection and it's now alphabetized and color-coded. Or maybe you perfected a new recipe and your homemade cookies are now legendary in your household. Or perhaps you even managed to finish that giant puzzle you've been working on for months and it's now proudly displayed on your wall. The point is, small wins and big wins alike deserve a cheer. Now, it's your turn. Drop your achievements in the comments below and let's give each other a big cheer. Whether it's painting, cooking, gaming, or anything else, we're here to celebrate you. As for me, last week I tackled the Age of Painttober competition. My goal was to start painting my kit-bashed Playbringer. I got the robes done and they went from black cloth to a black and red leather, which was a happy accident. I also got about 90% of the base done. So we've got green grass on one side and a burnt out desolate ground on the other. The idea is that the Playbringer walks forward, leaving death in his wake. It's almost done. I just want to add some green glow effects with the airbrush for that eerie OSL. The competition gave us 4 colours. I got a vibrant red, a bright green, a muddy brown, and a grey. It's been a challenge and it's really pushed me to try new techniques I wouldn't normally attempt. And hey, if you didn't quite hit your hobby goal this week, that is totally fine. Life gets busy and the most important thing is to enjoy your hobby and relax. Don't stress about it. Just keep carving out time for yourself. Every little step counts. And sharing those wins, big or small, helps us all stay inspired. Let me just interrupt here for our winners circle. This week, we've got some fantastic achievements to celebrate. First up, a huge shout out to Optimus Phil. Not only did he enjoy a hobby hangout with a friend, but he also painted an entire tank. Now, that's impressive. Next, we have Anna Banana Town, who mentioned that the base of my model looked like a tasty cookie. Inspired by that, she's going to whip up some real life cookies of her own. I can't wait to see how they turn out. And last but not least, a big kudos to Blocky808, who set his hobby goal to build and paint some Tyranid Warhammer models. Now that is dedication. All right, now let's get back to the hobby bench for our hobby hangout, where we'll set our goals for the coming week. Now, let's take a moment to set our goals for the upcoming week. This is where we lay out what we hope to achieve, the little wins we're aiming for, and how we're gonna make the next week awesome. Let's get creative. How about setting a goal to put on a sock puppet show, create some edible art, or even give your indoor plants their own parade by decorating the pots and arranging them in fun, whimsical displays. I'd love to see what your creative goals are, so share them in the comments. As for me, my goal for the upcoming week is to complete my Age of Painttober model. I'm down to the final steps. I need to tackle the armor, which will be a gradient from white to black for that striking contrast. I also have the staff, which is a lantern, which I'll do in non-metallic gold, and I'll be using the green for that eerie glow on the eyes and the vials and the hands on the base. It's going to be a challenge with the limited colours, but I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. Remember, the key is to set achievable goals. It's always better to accomplish smaller goals and celebrate those wins than set goals that might be too big and feel overwhelming. So let's keep it fun and encouraging. And don't forget to share your goals in the comments. And now we've set our fun goals, let's dive into just one line and see how well you can guess a book from a single line. We're back for another round of Just One Line, the game show where you get one line from a book and you've got to name it. How well do you know your books from just one line? But before we dive into this week's mystery, let's give a shout out to last week's winner. The line we read out was from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and a big congratulations to user Redbeard the Leo for getting it right. Thank you for playing along. Now, let's jump into this week's challenge. This time, I'm giving you 2 lines because the first one is super short. Here we go. We slept in what had once been the gymnasium. The floor was of varnished wood with stripes and circles painted on it for the games that were formerly played there. The hoops for the basketball nets were still in place, though the nets were gone. So put your guesses in the comments and let's see who can crack the code with this week. While we're all trying to figure out what this week's Just One Line is from, let's move into something wildly unique. Get ready for Lick That Pokemon, where we'll judge Pokemon cards purely on their lickability. It's time for another round of Lick That Pokemon. This isn't about the strongest or priciest cards. It's all about which Pokemon we'd most want to lick. This week, we've got 2 exciting packs. Scarlet and Violet's Surging Sparks and Scarlet and Violet's Journey Together. So let's open them up and see which Pokemon takes the crown. Right, Scarlet and Violet. Surging Sparks. It's been so long since I've opened some of these sets, I forget what's actually in them in terms of lickable Pokemon. So let's see what we get. Fire Smoochum. I mean, that's got some good set of lips on it. It might not be a lick, but it'd be a pretty good kiss. Nothing super strong yet. So let's see. Journey Together. It's got what it takes to be this week's Lick That Pokemon champion. Right. Whalmer. Probably not quite what we're after. A Fungus. You've been a previous winner. Oinkoloin. Pelepia. Ooh. Salamence EX. I missed that. Okay. There are contenders. That Salamence EX is a nice card. I quite like these EXs that don't have a background. Game Freak, don't listen to me because in your games, I don't like that as much. Okay, so Journey Together, we've got the Fungus. Not necessarily lickable on the surface, but could have some weird and wacky effects if we do. That Salamence is now on the floor. Surging Sparks, though, you didn't have all that much apart from this lovely little Smoochum. Now, like I said, not necessarily lickable, but I'm going to crown this week's Lick That Pokemon winner to Surging Sparks for this little smooching, because after I've licked it, if it likes it, it might give me a big sloppy kiss. And I'm not going to be mad at that. And there you have it. That is our lickable champion for this round. Do you agree with my winner? And which Pokemon would you lick? Let me know in the comments below. And if this has grossed you out, well, tough luck. This is Lick That Pokemon. And that's what we do. If you've enjoyed that and you're curious to learn more about the world of Pokemon cards, stay tuned, because up next we're diving into a quickie on what master sets are and why they're such a big deal in the Pokemon TCG. So don't go anywhere. Let's have a quickie. Today we're diving into Pokemon trading card game master sets. If you've ever heard the term master set and weren't quite sure what it means, don't worry, I've got you covered. A master set is essentially a complete collection of cards, but it can mean different things. You might collect just the numbered cards, or go all out and include every rare, full art and promo card. And it doesn't stop there. You can also create your own master set, like collecting every card of a specific Pokemon or every card by a specific artist. The world is your oyster. So whether you're a newbie or a seasoned collector, that's what a master set is all about. Let's dive into the spotlight. And today we are talking about Pokemon Legends ZA, a game that has got everybody split down the middle. Some people are calling it ambitious, others are calling it half-finished. And honestly, both are kind of true. I've spent a good chunk of time with it, and I want to give you a fair and balanced take. The good, the bad, and well, the almost great. Right away, the game feels consistently like it's almost great. Every single element is close to working, but somehow just misses the mark. It's like an alpha build of something special. All the core systems are there, but they're not quite polished. You can see the potential everywhere. Solid ideas, cool foundations, but the execution never quite lands. You'll still have fun, but it's one of those 5 or 6 out of 10 experiences that could have been incredible with a bit more time in the oven. So let's start with the city. It's big enough, that's not the issue, but it's weirdly lifeless, and there's no distinct districts or themed areas, no real sense of place. You walk a few blocks and everything starts to blur together. Rooftops exist, but they don't really serve any real purpose. You can't jump between them, you can't use them for traversal, they're just kind of there. And the lack of life, it's jarring. No cars, barely any people, nothing moving. You can stand in the center of the city, spin the camera and see no one. It looks like it should be vibrant, but it's more of a static shell. Movement is another sticking point. You can run and roll, and that's basically it. There's no jump button, which makes traversing clunky and awkward, especially in sections that look like platforming challenges. Rolling feels like a walk around to stop you reaching areas too early, but it kills the sense of freedom. Imagine if you could jump, climb, swing, or grab ledges. Basic stuff most modern open world games do. That alone would have made exploring way more satisfying. On paper, there's loads to do. You've got exploration, assault courses, side missions, wild zones, research tasks, all that good stuff. And to be fair, it's easy to get caught in that, well, just one more thing loop. The game's good at dangling little incentives. The problem is none of it has much depth. Exploration is dull because the city looks the same everywhere. Hidden areas just have Pokeballs or trinkets. Assault courses are quick and rarely rewarding. Side missions boil down to fight this trainer or fetch this item. It would feel like a world bursting with content if most of this wasn't surface level. You can tell what they were going for. A living city of endless distractions. It just doesn't click. The combat system is where things get interesting. It's real time, not turn-based, which is a big shift for Pokemon. And personally, I like it. It opens the door to some really cool boss style fights. The Mega Pokemon battles especially have that epic raid energy, multi-phase fights, dodging attacks, managing movement. It's exciting stuff, but again, the environments let it down. The arenas are samey, surrounded by mists or purple swirls, and it all starts to blur visually together. You can tell this is a test run for something bigger, maybe even a future Pokemon MMO that mixes open world exploration with boss battles. The framework is here. It just needs refinement. One of the oddest things is the nighttime battle zones. Basically, when they appear, all fighting becomes legal. You can sneak up and ambush other trainers or get jumped by them. Conceptually, it's cool. It's like Pokemon Purge, but the tone's a bit off. Sneaking through dark alleys to ambush schoolgirls in battles feels weirdly uncomfortable. It's not game-breaking, just little tonally confusing, like the devs didn't fully think through how it comes across. And that's really the theme here. All the pieces of a great game are present. They just needed more life and polish. For example, distinct city zones like residential, industrial, and historic areas with unique Pokemon and quests would have helped along with real crowd density and traffic to make the city feel alive. Deeper side quests with stories and consequences would have added depth, and expanded assault courses could have become full-on challenges or timed events. Most importantly, more freedom in movement, including jumping, climbing, and swinging, would have made traversal fun and satisfying. With those changes, this could have been one of the coolest Pokemon games ever made, instead of one of the most forgettable. I am still glad I played it. There is enough to make it worth experiencing, and honestly, it feels like a prototype for the next era of Pokemon, something bigger on the horizon. The ideas are great, the execution just stops short every time. You'll finish it, enjoy parts of it, but probably forget it a few months later. Yeah, the graphics are still rubbish, but that's not the real issue. The disappointment comes from how close it was to greatness. So that's my take on Pokemon Legends ZA. I'd love to know what you thought. Did it click for you, or did you feel as frustrated as it left me? Drop your thoughts below, and while you're there, let me know what Pokemon game you'd like to see next. From battling Pokemon in an empty city to diving in to the whimsical world of magic and mystery, let's jump into the book club and explore Samuel Moore's enchanting tale. Let's dive into our book club, but before we get into today's review, I want to hear from you. This is our chance to chat about the books that we've all been reading this week. A big shout out to Ollie B. Hammer for recommending Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. The premise sounds super fun and lighthearted, and I'm definitely intrigued. Even though it's a bit pricey at the moment, I'm keeping my eye out for a more affordable copy. And a special thanks out to shout out to Samuel Moore for recommending Anything by Alan Campbell. Samuel suggests Lie Street and also mentioned if they take over the world, Scar Knight will become mandatory reading. But here's the fun part. Samuel Moore is actually the author of the book we're about to review today. So if you love those influences, stick around to see what Samuel's own work is all about. Now, please share what you've finished and what you're currently reading in the comments. Let's inspire each other and start some great conversations about our favourite reads. Right then, today we are talking about The Wizard, the Alpaca, and the Treasured Hunter, a Hollow Moon story by Samuel Moore. For transparency, Samuel reached out after my Terry Pratchett review, suggesting his novella might appeal to fans of Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. I bought a physical copy myself rather than taking a free digital one. It's short. It's only 74 pages and follows an underachieving wizard who's not exactly a master of his craft. The world blends fantasy and sci-fi in a way that feels fresh and odd in all the right ways. It's playful, satirical, and surprisingly focused for such a quick read. It has that whimsical, clever tone that fans of early Pratchett will love, especially the Colour of Magic era. But it doesn't feel like an imitation. The narration directly addresses the reader, it's full of wit and self-awareness, and there's a real confidence in the voice. It's an easy, relaxing read with a few laugh out loud lines, just enough to keep the weirdness interesting. And the humour is balanced, it never overwhelms the story. There's moments also that genuinely stick with you, with haunting, vivid flashes that make the world feel alive beneath all the whimsy. Honestly, my biggest critique is that I wanted more. I wanted more world building, more description, more time with these characters. The novella format keeps things moving quickly, which sometimes means the relationships and events develop a little too fast. But that's not a bad thing, it just shows how well the world works and how much room there is to expand it. If more revisits this universe in a longer book, say 150 pages or more, I think it could really shine. Let those quieter atmospheric moments breathe. The cover art looks good though, but it doesn't quite match the tone. It feels like a younger audience fantasy comic, but the story is very much adult, complete with drunken wizards and brothels. A different cover could help find the readers for the story's tone. Overall, this is fun, witty, and accessible as a debut novella. Samuel Moore has a confident voice and a world I'm excited to see grow. My main takeaway is that I just wanted more. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this series evolves and what exciting depths we get in the next instalment. It's definitely a promising start and I can't wait for what comes next. Once you've read it, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't, it's definitely worth checking out. But that's a wrap on today's book club review. But don't go anywhere, because up next is Bit by Bit. We're diving into the art of social interaction and role-playing in Dungeons & Dragons. Let's jump into Bit by Bit, the part of the show where we break it all down bit by bit. Each week we're tackling another section of the Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook to make the game feel less intimidating and a lot more fun. Today, we're looking at social interaction and role-playing, pages 16 and 17 if you're following along. So what is social interaction in D&D? It's how your character engages with the world beyond combat or exploration. It's all the conversations, negotiations, lies, arguments, and the heartfelt moments that happen in between. Basically, it's the bits that turn your character from a collection of stats into a person. There are two main styles of role-playing, and neither is more correct than the other. Active role-playing is when you really perform for your character, using their voice, gestures, and personality like an actor on a stage. Descriptive role-playing is when you explain what your character says and does instead of acting it out, like narrating their behaviour. Some players mix both, and that is perfectly fine. The goal is just to have fun and express your character in whatever way works for you. Social interactions don't always need dice, but when the stakes are high, like persuading a guard, lying to a noble, or charming your way out of a fight, your DM might ask for an ability check. That usually means rolling a d20 and adding your modifier and looking at things like insight or deception or persuasion, depending on the situation. Unlike combat, there is no fixed turn order. It's more conversational and flexible, but the dice keep things unpredictable, which is half the fun. So that's it for today's Bit by Bit. If there's a specific rule or section of the Player's Handbook that you want me to break down, let me know in the comments and I'll add it to the list. Hey, I want to hear from you. So we're about to share our top comic book recommendations for new readers. So let's help each other discover some hidden gems. It's time to explore Follower's Choice. This is where we dive into your comic book recommendations and help new readers find their next great read. Now, I know comic books can be a bit daunting. So with many series and ongoing stories on there, that's why your suggestions are so valuable. Whether it's a current series with a perfect jumping on point, a classic series that's easy for newcomers, or even an upcoming release that's generating some buzz, we want to hear about it. Drop your recommendations in the comments and let us know why you love that comic. Let's build a community of comic book fans and help everybody find something to read. Let's get ready for what's in the box. Or in this case, what's in the pack. I'm diving into some awesome One Piece cards that a friend sent over. I'm relatively new to One Piece, but I'm super excited to see what gems we pull and how they will fit into my deck. So, no time like the present. Let's just jump right into opening these packs. The first one is a mystery pack. They picked it up for me from Collectibles Megastore in Shrewsbury. I have had one of these before. That was hard to open. It was all full of commons, so I haven't got the most excitement for this one, which is why we're doing it first. I've got a couple of decks on the go. I've got a red Straw Hat Crew deck, and I've got a black, I can't remember what it is because I've only just bought the starter set, but a black deck that I'm trying to build out. The reason why I bought these is because I noticed on the front, why I bought these last time and why I asked for another set, is there was a lot of OP1, the first One Piece card set that came out, and I missed OP1. So at least I've got some OP1 cards there. None of them really appeal to me. Let's get on to the good stuff. This is why we are here. We've got 2 packets of a Fist of Divine Speed. Again, like I say, I don't know too much about One Piece cards, but I do know cards that look pretty and have cool artwork. That looks amazing. I like that a lot. That is a cool ass card. When I told a One Piece fan that I'm playing this once while I've just started reading the manga, they scowled at me because he said, I am letting myself in for big spoilers. Quite possibly, but none of this means a lot to me at the moment. I'm only up to, I've just finished the Baratai arc, so by the time I get to the point when I would have got some of these spoilers, I 100% will have forgotten all about these cards. I just think the artwork is really pretty. So far, oh, that's kind of cool. A Charlotte Katakuri, whoever you are, you look cool. I just think the cards look cool. I was at the Chester Card Show probably about 12 months ago now. I was there for Pokemon cards. We're on Wings of the Captain now, by the way. I was looking for Pokemon cards, and I knew there was a One Piece card game. I'd never read it. I think I'd watched the live action by that point, but that was about it. And when I was walking about, my eye kept catching these One Piece cards in the folders, and there wasn't loads of them, but some of them were worth a fair amount. I thought it was a gold card. It's not. It's just shiny yellow. And Pokemon fans, if you're watching, please don't come at me for saying this. There was something about the artwork on One Piece cards. Oh, it's got a white back. Is that good? Is that a leader card? A Don card? I can't remember. It's been a while since I played. But I was walking about, and in all honesty, I was like, I think these One Piece cards have much better artwork than 99% of Pokemon cards. And then I spent a long time trying to find One Piece cards in the wild. In all honesty, it became very hard to do. It's a Don card. I knew it was something different, but always nice to have a pretty Don card. I like that one. Makes playing the game a bit more visually interesting. Right, on to Anime 25th collection. But yeah, I was at the card show, and every time I saw the One Piece card, I kind of just thought in the back of my head, I think these might be nicer than Pokemon cards. So I solely got into playing the game because I thought the cards looked really pretty. if I'm going to play a game, and I've got past that point in the manga, and that's such a weird little bit in the manga. I hope he comes back, the man in the treasure chest. I would love to see more of him. But if I'm going to play a card game and I'm going to sit looking at these cards for absolute hours, I want to look at some really pretty stuff, you know what I mean? Sometimes, I do like some of the Pokemon cards. I like the Yukimori Clay Pokemon. That looks promising. Is that a leader card? I think white was Don, red was leader. But if I'm going to sit and play a game for hours and learn how to play it and try and bully my friends into... strongly convince my friends into playing it with me, I would very much like to look at cards that are pretty, and I think that One Piece absolutely nails it. Bello Betty. I don't know how rare that is, but it's a very cool card. I've not got into the realms of dual-coloured decks yet. That just seems like slightly beyond my pay grade, my knowledge level at the moment. Right now I'm sticking to singular colour. If you are thinking of getting into One Piece, here's something that or One Piece trading card, here's something that I found very helpful. They do starter sets, and I think the starter sets are great value for money. We're on to two legends. There's two types of starter sets. There's the special editions, which come with fully hollow cards, and then there's the regular ones, which are about £10, and they actually come with a pack of cards, which, considering a pack of cards is £4.55, I think they're good value. But I bought two of the same set. That way, when me and a friend were playing together and trying to learn the game, we both had the same cards and we could learn from each other and see what worked and what didn't. That was very handy. We could help each other. And also, I've read that the starter sets aren't all that bad if you have two of them. I've got 2 packs left and we're on 500 years in the future. Some of the rarer cards in the set, or the more powerful cards, you only get a couple of them, and ideally you could do with 4 in your deck. So buying 2 of the same deck isn't a waste of money. It really helped me learn the game. It helped me and my friend have more fun together because we had the same cards and we could talk about them. And then when we stopped playing them and I hopefully get better and maybe enter a competition, then I've got a pretty good starting deck to begin with. Our luck sort of ran out a little bit. We got a couple of all right cards. This pile is ginormous. Thank you to my friend for sending me these, because I think there must be like 50 quiz worth of cards here, which I am very grateful for. Right, final pack, 500 years into the future. Can we get something super pretty? I mean, there are a hell of a lot of pretty cards in this, and I cannot wait to meet some of these characters in the manga when I get to it. Final card. Lilith, you're nothing special. But just like literally looking down in front of me, some of these cards are incredible. Like that artwork looks fantastic. We've seen Gaiman. Gaiman is great. Look at that. Look at that card of Usopp. Every card in this set is so much more magical than Pokemon. Don't come and hate me. I love Pokemon. I've liked Pokemon since red and blue and yellow. I just think this is great. This is really, really attractive to look at. And if you want a trading card game that isn't Pokemon, go for One Piece. The only problem with One Piece is the cards are relatively hard to find, or packs of cards. But so is Pokemon. So, hey, what have you got to lose? And there we have it. All the packs are opened. What do you think of the cards I pulled? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And do you play the One Piece game? What's your favourite deck or card? Let me know in the comments and let's keep the conversation going. Plus, if you've got any recommendations or tips for a newbie like me, drop them below. With those One Piece cards in the bag, the end of the show is on the horizon. And that's a wrap for this week's Saturday morning fun. We've explored books, Pokemon, a ton of hobby goodness, and I hope you had a blast. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to share with somebody who loves that classic Saturday morning magic, because honestly, it was the best time of the week. We'll be back next week with even more of your favourites, more bit by bit, more what's in the box, and more of everything you love. Remember, a new video drops every Saturday at 9:30 a.m. on YouTube, and we've got highlights on TikTok and Instagram throughout the week. So that's it for this week. I'll see you next Saturday for more. And remember, I've been Ste, and it's Saturday morning, baby.